Okay. Good morning, good people. Thank you guys for tuning in as we have had people signing in. Please like, share, tag a friend on here. We got a lot to talk about this morning. We got our organizer, Torvis Gardner, back on. He got some things to talk about as well. He really just had an awesome May of just working with parents, and so glad to have him back on. And Sonia's going to be joining us shortly. But just wanted to check in. Everybody say good morning. But Torvis, how are you doing this morning? And you got it on mute.
I'm doing fine, man. I'm doing well.
Okay.
Sunny outside, another day. Try to get things right. School's almost out. So
yes,
it's a lot going on.
Yes. So we got a lot to talk about. We got National Charter School Week. We really want to do like a Natural Propel 10-day review. Like I said, Torvis is on here because he has just had an exciting 10 days. I want to talk about the parent power from last night. We want to talk about just highlights from our week. We want to get you guys' perspective on what are your wishes for next school year. And by the end, we want parents to send pictures of their graduating seniors, so we can really highlight them on a post, because we know how exciting that is, and what a time to be alive as a graduating senior. And then we may talk a little bit about, if we got time, NBC Nightly News that one of our cohort 8 fellowship parents may be featured on, as well as our executive director. Did I miss anything, Torvis?
No, you didn't miss anything.
Cool. A lot to talk about. So let's just jump right into it, Torvis. Like, if you can just talk about just for the month of May. I mean, the month of May has been crazy. We've had really good discussions. We've had really good organizing events. But how has your May around parent organizing been?
Man, it's been busy. It's been a lot of conversation. A lot of parents are realizing the things that their child are missing with education. I've sat in on 2 or 3 IEP meetings where parents actually show their power of once knowing the system and what they're supposed to get versus what they're getting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's been really, I mean, school's almost out. Many things is about the summer schools coming up. People don't know where to sign up. The dashboards are crashing. So, I mean, you still got chaos, but a lot of people just looking at it as like the countdown. We got 9 days of school left.
Yeah. Yeah. And good morning to you, Sonia. We were just going over how has the week been for everybody. But Torvis jumped right into just his month in organizing, with today being May 12th, and just some of his experiences from IEP meetings to press conferences to canvassing and relationship building. So it feels like it's at the end of the month, but we ain't there yet. But how has your week started off, Sonia?
My week has started off busy. Personally, getting my son all finished up for Tennessee ready with his school. Forgetting to go get him out of the car line.
Come on now. We got to get back in shape.
I got to get back in shape. That text message, anybody gonna pick me up? That's the most horrifying text message.
I know.
I'm like, oh my God. So that was horrible. But just a big week with our parents, that gives me joy, right? When we truly stick to our mission and we can see it. And I'm just gonna say this: a lot of organizations can't say that.
Yeah.
It's not because they're bad organizations. It's just a lot of organizations don't have the favor that we have in 2 years to be able to do what we've been able to do with the parents can't be done without the parents.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just want to shout out the parents for you guys building this movement. And last night was powerful.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've shown that, but there's been several highlights this week. Some big things coming up this weekend, media-wise, that I cannot talk about right now, but we'll announce when we get to go. And I think, although that was big, last night, the organizing effort from our team and our parents brought tears to my eyes. And I texted and called and bragged to those who support us and partner with us about last night. So shout out to the parents and grandparents of Nashville Propel. And shout out to our team. Shout out to Torvis and Cliff and TT and Thomas. Like, shout out to those people.
Mm-hmm. And I'll just show people just a little bit of what she was saying. As you can see, this is a picture of 40 strong parents who were live streaming, live chatting. Some people were live tweeting the school board meeting last night. And I thought it was, just being on the board and seeing that picture, it really made me smile, because it just shows you what people always tell me is not true. That parents, if you give them a seat at the table, they're not just going to sit there, they're going to lead the table. And I just saw that last night. So that was really strong. Man. And so we got a couple of people checking in. I see we got Rhea saying good morning. We got Miss Kimberly White, who came out on last Thursday. We got Sheree Lindsay. We got Jordan Majors, Cohort 3 Fellowship. Joyce Gardner, Cohort 4 Fellowship. Thank you guys for checking in. And so just some of the things we're going to talk about, again, just going over the agenda. We got the National Charter School Week. We're doing the 10-day review that Torvis has started on. Parent Power from last night, which I highlighted the picture, but we also want to talk about some of the tweets that were retweeting what we were tweeting. Want to hear wishes about the next school year. And then also, again, if you're looking at this and you got a graduating senior, if you're looking at this and you got a family member who's a graduating senior, definitely send us their picture because we want to highlight them. We want to celebrate, again, the best times of their life.
Oh, man, what an exciting time.
Mm-hmm.
What a pivotal moment in a child's life. And that's why we're fighting for what we're fighting. Because not only it just can't be enough that they graduate.
Yeah. Man.
It just can't be enough that they graduate. They gotta graduate prepared.
Yeah. And Sonia, I wanna go back to a place. And I really want to talk about, we did Access Denied last Wednesday, but we had an event on Thursday.
John, you breaking up? I think Torvis. John sounded like Heathrow on Muddy's Fender. You seen that? Heathrow. I can help you with that.
And then he froze up.
Kitty cake. I don't know.
You got the face of the way the parents looked last night. What's the guy got up and told us a short story and read the book for Dashboard for Dummies, and all the persons looking just like John looking right now. Just
there was a whole lot of things I was looking like that about. I mean, but while we waiting on John, like dashboards are good. Like that's good because we all need to see, right? But that's just not what we're asking for. We're asking for what are you going to do if on the dashboard they're not scoring well, or they're looking like they need to be strengthened in areas. What is the goal? What are the priorities?
Mm-hmm.
What are the tactics. And dropping a link does not do anything. When they were talking about that, you know what I was thinking about?
What's that?
How kiosks work. Like, you can go to the kiosk at the skating rink and get a pair of socks if you put $2.50 in there.
Yeah.
Like, but ain't nobody there to serve you in relationship with you. You just putting quarters into the machines and dollars into the machines. I don't know. I mean, it might be a stupid way to think about it, but if we gonna use links, why we got schools? Where is the real parent-teacher interaction with a child struggles? And I think, and I like some aspects to Khan Academy, right? Like, I think it has its place, but I'm gonna tell you something. When my son and my daughters were struggling in school, there were times, especially when it relates to literacy, that Khan Academy did not help us because we still needed a plan around the child, around my children, and we didn't know what they needed help with. Like, okay, you got an F in math. What I don't know is, what is it about math that what are you not getting? I can click links all I want, but I need somebody to assess my child. Where is he? Math scores are fine, but parents and children still won't be able to identify where that child is struggling. It'll just be like telling somebody they got cancer, but not telling them what type of cancer they have.
Yeah.
And I look at it, Sonya, you've been in the medical field. I've been in the medical field. And it's almost like when they first come out with the EHR or EMR, whichever one you want to call it, it was like, it's like putting your demographics in and that's it. You got a system that got your name, address, and phone number, but it has no doctor's notes, it has no diagnosis, it has no test results. It's just a system holding demographics. So when I looked at the dashboard last night, it was like, okay, they put this information up there, it's got the demographics, but the key word that they put out to me, you can check the child behavior. Once again, you went back to behavior. Nothing is talking about the learning loss. Nothing is talking about the assessment of the child, what they know, what they need to work on. Once again, it's like you putting out a plan. Well, I didn't even say a plan. You putting out a system that you didn't do a pilot run on. The parents don't have the input in it. And it's like the way school started. You just started school with this. They always say, we talked to some parents. I've talked to hundreds of parents. I don't know one parent that they've talked to about rolling out something. So who are these parents you keep talking to? Then they said we had our small group. Excuse me, I got allergies. But our small group of people put this together. I'm like, who's the small group?
Yeah.
Do y'all have kids in the school system? I can tell my neighbor, I got this going on with the school system. And what's your input on it? Man, whatever you think, man, go ahead and do it. Why am I answering him for? He don't even have kids in the system. He don't even know.
So what I hear you saying is, you didn't see a plan.
No.
Nobody asked us. They're still not listening to us. We presented them a whole plan and told them what we need to see. We want all children assessed. We want to see that data. Like, I'm not knocking down a dashboard, but we need to see the plan to recover the children. A dashboard does not recover children from learning loss.
No.
Me seeing the MAP scores and those things do not cover children from learning loss. I'll break it down. I go to the doctor. I go get assessed. They draw a CBC to check my red blood cell count. They want to check my white blood cell counts. Okay. My differentials, if they want to order with a differential. That doctor takes that information and wraps a plan around me according to what my CBC showed. A plan of care. How do we address Sonia's low red blood cells? It's not giving me a link because I can go Google that shit myself. It's not giving me a handout. What is the plan of care? Do I need some Epigen? Do I need to have some iron? How much iron do I need to take? Before that, what's causing my CBC to be low? Then we can address how to address my CBC.
Right.
Is that making sense now? Let me, Channel 5 done reached out. They want to know what they want to talk. Parents, does that make sense? Is that what I need to tell them? Because somebody ain't listening.
What we saw last night was MNPS, Metro Nashville Phony System. MNPS. That's what we saw.
What we saw last night was business as usual. It's just business as usual. It's people sitting in a room, not asking the people who struggle the most for feedback. We can make this so much easier on those. Dr. Changus, baby, you ain't got to do this by yourself. You're not alone. We would love to work with you. And what we mean by work with you, since Dr. Battle said they worked with Nashville Propel, let me tell you what the difference is. Can I do that? Can I break it down real quick? Dr. Battle said that she worked with Nashville Propel. Let's go down the timeline. Let's define work with. I always believe in breaking down action words. Yes, you have met us. And John, look at the calendar for me and see what dates they met with us, because I'm going to break this shit down. They met with us a few months ago, back in 2020. They asked us what we wanted to see in an individualized learning plan. We put together a children's cabinet to recover children from learning loss with parents and grandparents, with Bridget Rodriguez from Harvard Research Institute, from former Assistant Education Commissioner Emily Freitag, Bishop Yumiko Jones, a couple of Metro School teachers, Brooke Allen from, what is it, John? I don't want to get it wrong. Brooke Allen from the cooperative. What is it?
DLC.
From DLC. We brought in heavy hitters and put together a framework. And in February, after commitments from them to keep meeting with us, keep wanting to build a relationship with us, we presented with parents them the framework. They said they liked it. They said they were going to work with us. They was going to meet with us. March went by. Okay, give them a little time. You know what I'm saying? They made promises that they could have some of this stuff done by May. Good, great. We were clear about what a plan looks like. The dashboard is good. I think it's needed. Don't get me wrong. I want to be clear about that. Yep. The dashboard is needed. And so then I followed up with them in April at the request of the team and parents. They felt like it was time enough, like, okay, we hadn't heard from them, to ask when we're going to meet again to hear the progress on the personalized learning plan and student dashboard.
And
And we wanted to hear that. We're excited to hear about the progress. We got bull crapped around. I'm just gonna call it out. You know, and I understand that Dr. Battle sometimes can't be at every meeting, but Dr. Changus could have met with us. And I said a day. They said they couldn't do that day. I said, what about the following week? I didn't get a response. I followed back up and was like, hey, you know, I hadn't heard from you. And so then it was, you know, hey, maybe we can get together Dr. Changus and Spring us that, you know, and my response to them was the response it needed to be. I need for you guys to stick with your commitment.
Yeah.
And your commitment is to meet with us. And so then I got a call or a email about a last minute 10:45 meeting with Ashford Hughes. And he said that Dr. Battle might stop by. And my response is, we're happy to meet. But we need to see the plan. Otherwise, what are we meeting about? If you're not going to show us the plan, what are we meeting about? The demand or the ask was nice and cordial. We want to see the plan. And as you can see, there is no plan to recover children from learning loss. And that's why we got shunned like that. Mm-hmm. But you know what? I'm gonna tell y'all something. I think that transparency is important with people with relationship building. And if they didn't have the plan ready, I think that just by saying that, it doesn't excuse them. But my daddy used to say an explanation goes a long way.
Yeah. And
so, you know, to say, well, you know, this is where we are. That's all we were asking. This is where we are. And we're not at that stage. So let's talk about that together. Let's talk about priorities, right? Let's talk about that. Let's look at some other options here, because school is going to start. You still working on a dashboard when children are not going to have a plan to recover them from learning loss. You got children who started school in kindergarten this year who are behind in literacy. How are you going to recover each child who will be in different places? And this is a decades problem for the school system and other school systems. Not being able to address each individual child's need. And how is it that we talk to a superintendent in another state, on another part of the country, met with them with the plan, had dialogue with them, and they want us to help them? And I'm gonna say this. There's a verse in the Bible, I need to find it, where they talk about not being welcome in your own city. Parents don't even feel welcome in our own city. And I'm gonna end right there for a minute.
Yeah, and that's how it usually goes. And one of the things that I want to do, I want to share the video, and actually hear their response from Thursday, and then we're gonna fast track. I think somebody is sending me the link to my email so we can play where you heard the allergies in the ACHU. But I want you guys to check out just a video of just powerful parents like stepping up and stepping out, and then we'll jump right back into the conversation.
Work on my allergies.
Come on now. Let's see. Gotta wait for the commercial.
New tonight at 10, parents are calling for changes in Metro schools. They want personalized learning plans for all students. News 4's Cameron Taylor is live outside the MNPS Central Office tonight. Cameron,
parents say they just want to be involved in the process. That's right, Marius. I spoke with several parents tonight, and they say the pandemic has taken a toll on their children when it comes to learning, and all they want from the district is to be included in that conversation.
Me and this guy take a lot of pictures.
Victoria Gordon says these pictures show her son's personality. He's a 6th grader with special needs. Gordon's son Malik has an individualized education plan, or IEP. He's been learning virtually.
Even with the IEP, we still have learning loss. We still have a whole lot tremendous, and he's a 6th grader on the 3rd grade reading level.
Gordon and other parents are now fighting for all MNPS students to have personalized learning plans. They're part of a group called Nashville Propel.
Asking is too much. I'm demanding.
Parents say those plans will help children who may have fallen behind during the COVID-19 pandemic.
My mama fought for me. I fought for myself. And now I'm here fighting for mine.
MNPS issued a statement to News 4. They wrote, Dr. Battle and the team have met and talked with Propel about the personalized student dashboard that is being developed for the upcoming school year as part of the Every Student Known initiative within MNPS.
When we're going to see it? When we're going to be a part of the drafting the plan?
So personalized learning plans.
Parents like Gordon say they haven't been included in the process, and they want that to change.
We really need to be a part of this. It's like making spaghetti. Can't make spaghetti without the sauce. Parents are the sauce.
The parent group told me they haven't spoken with the district since February. The school system says they plan to present a draft of their plans to the school board this coming Tuesday. Marius?
All right. So just as we come back to that, they said it was a publicity event, and then we get to Tuesday, and there's no plan.
Oh, they was like, wait and see. We're going to let it all out Tuesday. In it. So now with those words that they had in there, they said that they talked to Propel about the student dashboard. You did talk to us about the dashboard, but you also talked to us about the ILP. Now, going back, we were saying ILP, individual learning plan. So let's simply remember the conversation. They wanted to put their change on it and say personalized learning plan. So it was changed to a PLP. So when we got to Tuesday, you was talking about this dashboard, but what happened to the PLP? You changed the name to PLP. What happened to it? We still have not seen this plan because we don't have a plan. Simple as that.
Yeah, and as we hear Kimberly White and Marnisha asks, where's the draft? Kimberly White says they're full of it. But I think that's a prime example. And I think parents are starting to understand, like, more than ever, as they came out on Thursday. And, you know, parents were literally mocked. I mean, the guy from MNPS called it a publicity event, which was like a nice word for publicity stunt. And then it's like, okay, I guess they're gonna show up with some, since they calling it a publicity stunt, and then they show up. And in my opinion, I don't even think they're talking about the personalized learning plan.
Well, don't nobody care nothing about what they say to us. They done so much shit to us. Like, I don't care what they say.
Yeah.
Like, for anybody, for a school system that has failed children for decades, to antagonize parents like that, you weak. You weak. And you don't even deserve it. To me, that part of the conversation don't even deserve any attention. It was a weak response. Go to the receipts. Go to your damn dashboard. Go to your dashboard and look at your progress. What's a publicity stunt is doing a whole press conference on a darn hub. Who needs the publicity? Right. They do. We don't need the publicity. And they can take that comment and stick it up there. Nothing. Let me be quiet. But I just think it's weak. That made them look bad because everybody knows the truth. So it was a weak comment. It was an anti-parent comment. And as everybody, the world can see is you lied.
Yeah. Everything you do, you have plans. I mean, you build a house, you have plans. The doctor has plans. Everybody, you have a plan with everything you're doing. And my dad used to tell me, without a plan, you planning to fail. So without a plan, you planning to fail. You already failing.
How do our educators create lesson plans? If there's any educators on here, I know in the hospitals, because what I know, we create care plans when people, so anytime you guys go into the hospital, you may not know it, but the head nurse, the RN in charge, the charge nurse, is required to create a care plan for each patient. So it could be in that care plan, the goal is to have Mr. Little up and walking within 24 hours of his knee replacement. And so what has to happen with that? You know, PT has to be called, physical therapy has to be called in. Each nurse, you know, knows to walk Mr. Little at different times. And, you know, there are consultations, there are goals. We're going to have him walking in 24 hours. And the tactic is we're going to walk him at 1 o'clock and at 6 o'clock and 11 o'clock. PT is going to come daily and do A, B, C, D. We're going to make sure that he ices his knee. So those are the details that we are asking for, and to drop links somewhere and still tell parents you on your own, take this link. That ain't what we already know what the links are. We can go to Khan Academy. I mean, that is just, it's really sad.
Even with last night, the guy said, oh yeah, we got the dashboard up. You can get on there right now. And then somebody got on and said, I'm on here. But if you don't have an account, you got to wait 2 weeks. Okay, it's not right now. Then another lady couldn't get on at all. So even with your rollout last night, you was 50-50. One could get on and one couldn't. So, I mean, you keep rolling things out without a plan, without a pilot. It's like we just saw school start with the same mess. We're going to order all these computers. We're going to have this, going to have it, and school started, and people still trying to get computers. You still haven't talked to the parents. You still haven't talked. We talked to you all. We're trying to talk to you. We came up with a plan. We met with you. Like I said, you knew what we wanted because you said PLP. We said ILP. So you knew what we wanted. So how did that translate into a dashboard? I don't know.
But I mean, the dashboard is fine, Torvis. Like, I want to make sure that we're clear with a dashboard. What we're not clear about is what?
Where is the rest of it? Where is where is the assessments? Where is the plan? Where is the dashboard is good, but you have to have something to go with it. You have to have all this other stuff to go with it. We had non-negotiables. We had these things need to be. You had to have goals. You had measurements. You had different things in place to assess this child, to see where they're going, where their path is, and then, like I said, the dashboard's at the end of it. But we need more to go with it.
So if we're baking a cake, we need all the ingredients.
Yeah, you can't put the egg in it after you don't cook it.
Yeah, and I'll go over one thing. I think Rhea Gambly asks, how is this conversation helping our city? Accountability is one thing, but name calling towards our district is not helping. And if I could address that a little bit. And so when they talk about name calling and they feel offended, I think, Ms. Gambly, you feel offended, and I understand where you're coming from. But understand why we're having this conversation. Kids are graduating from high school. They're going to kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade, seventh grade, eighth grade, ninth grade, 10th grade, 12th grade, and not knowing how to read. And so the conversation needs to be had, because if you never bring attention to it, you just keep thinking just because it's good for you, that it's good for everyone else. And that's not the case. And so I appreciate that comment, but I think you got to dig a little deeper into the root of it. You got to dig a little deeper into why is it fair to have framework to know the problem. Well, I know you have a broken leg. You know, I know you have a broken arm, but not do anything about it. And I think that's where we got to go.
Where's the name calling coming in? Who called somebody a name?
Yep. And then Ms. Lopez says they are working on the how-tos to this website. They shared the plan last night. And I would say, Ms. Lopez, I think you're still missing it. I think you're still missing that they presented framework around a plan, but
They presented framework around a dashboard.
yes.
That is not going to be sufficient to recover children from learning loss that they experienced before. We have 85% of disadvantaged children not reading on grade level. You have to have a plan to address that.
And I can say, with the comments that just made, we just done the whole documentary on Nashville, 37208, the worst schoolyard pipeline in the world. So why are we making these comments? Because we're seeing our kids going to jail or the graveyard.
Yeah.
That's why we're making this comment. That's why we fight for these kids. Like Sonny say all the time, when our kids don't have choices, our kids are dying.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And Ms. Toombs is a council member for District 2, budget chair, and she was part of the reason the budget is fully funded this year. So thank you for that, Ms. Toombs. But she said, is MAP testing not an assessment? Are you proposing a different type of assessment? I have 3 children, and that's where we got to catch people up to. And I think you talked about it a little bit, Sonia, like, it's not about the assessment, Ms. Toombs. We realize that MAP is an assessment. TN Ready is an assessment. But we realize our kids can't read on grade level. So why keep assessing without a real plan to recover the learning loss? And so we're just going a little deeper. So we know it's a problem, right? Anybody is in the community and you're very involved in your children. So you know there's a problem system-wide, not just one school, not just one child, not just one neighborhood, but system-wide. We're trying to determine, to go a step farther, how do you help the children who can't read? And I think that's what we want to talk about.
Let me break it down one more time. Everyone has been to the doctor or taken your children to the doctor. You've taken them for wellness visits and you've taken them for sick visits. Remember, not all children are sick, not all children are doing bad, and not all children are doing good. Does that help? Let me start there. Mm-hmm. But we take our children to the doctor, or we go to the doctor for our yearly checkups or for a sick visit. When we enter the doctor's office, the doctor doesn't just hand you a prescription. What do? They assess your children. They assess children differently. They assess them with subjective and objective information, meaning they assess them using the stethoscope. But then again, they may say, have you had a cough? That's the subjective and the objective. We're asking the school to continue to assess. There are some assessments that need to be updated, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about continue to assess them and get a little bit more urgent and rigorous about assessing to see where they are, to see what they need, to see if there are any problems, to see what's going well with that child. Then Once the doctor assesses, they also need to sometimes do diagnostic tests if they see something wrong. So that's another level of assessing. So you got a child who's not reading on grade level as evidenced by MAP, by the objective and subjective, the information coming from their parents, the teacher is seeing it. Everybody sees everything, the assessments, your dashboard, what the parent is saying, what the teacher is seeing, and what's going on with the child is taken into consideration. That's partnership. Same thing when you go to the doctor's office. You're included in that doctor's visit. What you said was going on with your child, what they see, and what the assessment says. What does the blood work say? Then a plan of care when you're in the doctor's office. Child comes in with a fever. Well, what's causing the fever? I got to see what's causing the fever because I don't know what to give them. Should I give them amoxicillin? Should I give them penicillin? I don't know. I got to look to see what's going on. I got to see if it's a virus. I got to see if it's a bacteria.
Yeah.
Then once they figure that out, they prescribe something. I don't know how no other way to explain it to y'all.
Yeah. And Sonia, can I do this? Because I think this is a really rich conversation. And I really appreciate Ms. Toombs chiming in. I see Martha Lopez from the McGavitt Cluster chiming in. So this is what I'm gonna ask y'all to do, because we can talk about it. And somebody is saying, like, are you going to the schools to help with reading? I want you guys to come out, bring your gloves, bring your mask, and meet me in the community. You tell me the day and time, and I'm gonna take you to doors of families who disagree with everything that you're saying because you're not connected to what they're going through. Instead of like, I don't want to have the back and forth because I think some people think they're right and some people think others are wrong. We just need to go directly to the source. And when we go directly to the source, we'll debate it in front of the source. And so we can realize what's in front of us, what we're dealing with. And then what do we need to do?
Well, we can go to the priority schools. We have 21 priority schools. So, I mean, where are the schools at? And Tennessee is ranked 46 in the state as far as education. That says a lot. 46 out of 50.
Look here. I'm not finna explain the education crisis over and over again to people that see it. And I don't mean no harm. If you want to talk to me personally, 615-509-1916. If I need to walk you through the state dashboard, and if we need to take you door to door with parents, that's fine. But ain't nobody sitting on here lying. And I'm not saying that you guys are accusing. You're asking questions. You should ask questions.
Right.
And thank you for the question. But I think at some point, asking me or anybody on here, are we going to the schools and reading? Call me. I'll tell you all the stuff that I done done. It's gonna blow your wig off.
Right.
If I go to the school and read to the children, I need to school you on something that does not teach children how to read. And people in this city, in this community, we're educating you about what it even means to read. And a lot of people don't even realize that they are struggling readers. But you can look at things such as children not going to college and not graduating. Those types of things that you already know. So I would love to have this conversation with Ms. Toombs. Thank you for joining.
Yeah.
I would love to sit down and talk to you and anybody else. Ms. Lopez, you can call me. She wants to know different questions. I would love to sit down and some coffee or something and talk about it.
Yeah. And I think stepping into each other's shoes, I think we can have this fundamental conversation about what's working and what's not. But again, like walking and knocking on the doors of Cheatham Place, right? Talking to parents about the Promising Scholar program because there was a deadline. And so our team spent time passing out the flyers to make sure make sure parents sign their kids up. And shout out to the district for giving us those flyers for free instead of having us pay for it. But when you knock on the door of parents and you talk to them about education and you try to connect them with what's going on and you realize it's a huge disconnect. They talk about their kids. They have so much joy, but they don't even realize that the elementary is a bottom 5% school. The middle school they're sending their kids to is a bottom 5% school. And the high school may be bottom 5 or bottom 10. And somebody said, there's going to always be a bottom 5%, John. And I was like, it's criminal to send a kid from kindergarten to 12th grade to a bottom 5% school.
Look,
switch it up a little bit.
Our state has acknowledged that we have failed to teach children how to read. Our own state has. Multiple states around this country has. The federal government has also acknowledged that we are failing to teach children how to read as evidence of administering literacy tests to federal prisoners because they realize they can't read. I always say 1 is a problem, 2 is a what? What I always say, y'all.
That's a trend.
It's a trend. And we've got thousands. So what more evidence does anybody need? And I don't think it's even up to us to even prove to people that there's a problem. Nor is it our responsibility to convince anybody. It is the duty of the school district. They are bound. They are required to teach children. And if children if they don't do anything else, they should be teaching children how to read, and that's not happening.
Yeah. And I'll just go back to this thing. As we debate, so it is an active audience of parents who agree, parents who live in the communities we serve, parents who send their kids to priority schools who want more, parents who show up to the school board, listen in on the school board, give their comment. And so this is not a community of 3. And in organizing, if we're the only one leading this, we're not leading anything. But when you have parents who agree and who want to get on train and who want to become leaders, that's when you know, like, there's a real problem. And it's not the problem for the parents. Like, it's the problem for the system to fix it with participation, as we were talking about what we're trying to do with the personalized learning plan.
I think it just speaks to the behavior. I don't know who said it, but somebody said, do you go and read to the children?
Yeah.
The system has created a community mindset also that it's the parents' fault. Do you go read to people? Do you read to your children? And it's the system does the same thing. Instead of taking accountability, the system will say that parents don't show up for school board meetings.
Mm-hmm.
And as you can see, parents on the school board meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And we do our school board meetings on our Facebook and we go to school board meetings. So that's another lie that's being told on parents. That we're not, what's my word I hate? Engaged.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lie.
Yep.
And then it also acknowledged that, we had a meeting and they were saying the kids come in the school system behind. Okay, you giving us this. Why come you haven't done any early childhood development? Okay, so if a kid coming in behind and then by the time they're in the 3rd grade, they way behind, and then you want to retain them after the 3rd grade. You know if they can read or write in the 1st grade.
Yeah.
But teachers are not taught to teach the kids how to read. How the parents will be able to teach them how to read.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, like I love debating, I love dialogue, but some people keep asking, why are we doing it in this manner? Again.
I'm not answering that. Go on.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not. call me 615-509-1916. I'll tell you why we're doing it in this manner, because we've already tried to collaborate with them. And as a matter of fact, I'm gonna say this, I'm in this.
Okay.
Who is anybody to tell us how to do anything?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna end it there.
Yep. Amen.
If your child is not reading, don't tell me not to be angry about it. And don't tell me not to speak up about it. When it happens, we all should be addressing this issue. And so, you know, I understand that sometimes people just don't understand. And so they ask questions such as that. And so in order for you to understand, call me, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the story. And because I believe in listening to other people also. But when you don't know our story and when you're disconnected, those types of questions come out and up, and I understand. We'll answer them for you. I don't want you to walk away from here not knowing why we do what we do. 615-509-1916. Call me after 5. I'll tell you. And then I think what will happen is, I honestly believe that once we have that conversation, I think that you will understand. So I'm not going to crap on somebody because they don't understand, but all I ask you to do is to get an understanding so you understand.
Yeah. Good conversation. I think as we're ending, I think, again, if you guys have pictures of your graduating seniors, please send them in. We want to do a collection and really highlight some of the best times in their lives. I know graduation week is coming up next week. If you have pictures, please send them in. I know somebody put the email address on the comments, and then we'll send it out to parents as well.
I want to also acknowledge that this is Charter School Week. And so, you know, school choice, you know, we don't advocate for a certain type of school, but school choice is important for parents like us to be able to decide what school that our children go to and the best fit for them. And so I know that a lot of parents, a lot of schools are celebrating school choice. This week is Teacher Appreciation Week. We want to celebrate the great educators and thank them for, you know, the work that they do and their dedication. So just wanted to make sure that we observe Charter School Week and observe Teacher Appreciation.
Amen. Thank you, guys. See you next week. If you got questions, shoot us a call. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, everybody, for engaging. Again, thank you to the parents and grandparents for the past 10 days who have just really showed up and showed out. Special thanks to Sparkle Johnson, to Janie Bobby, to Shamika Holt, to Victoria Gordon, who have not only, you know, gone through our fellowship, but also like spoke up and spoke out and helped lead other parents. And if I'm forgetting anybody, Sonia Torvis, just let me know. But this has been rewarding, and it's really the opportunity to do the work for our kids.
Oh, Ray Gamley, call me, presenting myself as an enemy. We're presenting ourselves as, and you make sure you call me, girl, because I can tell you about why parents feel like they're the enemies.
Yeah.
So I love to have these conversations. Right. So you can hear what's really, because I think you're missing some information. And I want to make sure you get it. So Miss Toombs, Miss Ray Gamley, there's some other people. Call me. Let's have some coffee. We're going to talk about this. Then you will see if we're really presenting ourselves as enemies. Because I'm going to get you up to the phone calls, or text message, and I want to show them to you. Then you tell me if we're presenting ourselves as enemies, or are we holding people accountable?
Yeah. All right. I see Miss Scruggs on here too. Shout out to David and Dorothy Scruggs again. Finished cohort 8, did a national interview as they discussed, you know, a bill that made its way through the state that was passed. And they were able to get their perspective. I think we highlighted it 2 weeks ago, but big thanks to you guys for not only, again, going through the fellowship, completing the fellowship, but doing some powerful stuff that people are reading all across the country.
All right.
All right, guys.